This is Sports Rage. Level 2 has begun. SportsGrid Radio and Television Networks. I am Gabriel Morency, kicking it with Cam Stewart, Paul Bovey in the house. So, listen, I don't know if every game's probably not going to go over the number, but weather won't be a factor this week. Like, it's not super cold. It's like 27 degrees or something at Buffalo. The winds are like 15, 17 miles an hour, whatever. There's nothing extreme there. The Detroit Lion game is indoors. The Green Bay Packer game is in San Francisco. And Baltimore weather is very just whatever. It's balmy for this time of the year. It's not, weather shouldn't be a factor there. I think there's going to be points. Paul was talking about he thinks KC's going to have success on Buffalo. He took the team total to the over. I think that game's going to go over the number. We were talking about the Bucs and Lions are going to score on each other. Packers and 49ers, I guess it's more of a debatable game here. As we talked about, Green Bay can't possibly play as well as they played last week. It was a perfect storm. Everything came together. The Cowboys rolled over and choked. San Francisco are going to be a tougher task, but they are playing with house money. Matt LaFleur is a very good coach. He's going to have a good game plan. They're not like, it's not a JUCO team going in against the Michigan Wolverines or something. And then we get Houston and Baltimore. What do you think about that game, Paul? Because if there's any one of them that could just sort of be a slugfest, I think this is the one that could just sort of turn into a 23-17 type of game.
So I really don't have a strong opinion here. I will tell you what I did take. One play so far, I have the first half under a flat 23, and I only took it because I felt it was a good number based on the total. I mean, the total is where, 44 or something? So you basically
43 and a half now.
Yeah,
okay, so 43 and a half, and I got under 23. I mean, it just made sense. 23 is kind of a key number. 2 touchdowns, 3 field goals. At this point, last week, if you remember, I came into the Texan game. I didn't waffle, but I didn't have a strong play. And I just said, take Joe Flacco to throw an interception. And it took a little time, but it was pretty easy.
He threw it.
Yeah. It took a little.
Should have bet 2 pick sixes.
Yeah,
Shout out to
yeah,
everyone joining us on
exactly.
Sirius XM Channel 159 on the SportsGrid Radio Networks. I am Gabriel Morency. This is Sports Rage. So that was a good bet.
Action points on the interceptions because, they threw the first one, and then, the floodgates open. He throws another one. So I don't really have a play on this game as of yet. I really didn't get into the nuts and bolts of it. I didn't watch the replays. I want to watch the replay of the first game, not because it has a whole huge bearing on it. The players have changed. The Texans' offensive line was in complete disarray in the first game. Henceforth, C.J. Stroud was sacked 5 times. I don't think that'll be the case this week. But you got to respect the Ravens' pass rush because could be the difference here. And the Texans do not have a strong secondary. That, to me, has been their Achilles heel. So Lamar Jackson has a chance to go over his passing total, but then again, if the game gets out of hand, he'll put the brakes on. Unlike Baker Mayfield, who at 253.5 is an absolute steal bargain because in the last 4 games, which I neglected to mention a few minutes ago, Detroit has given up 393, 411, 345, and 367 in the air. And if the Tampa Bay Bucs happen to fall behind, he'll be throwing on every play. This should be an easy number to go over. So getting back to the Texan game, I just wanted to throw that in. I don't have anything strong on the game.
And I'm just looking at the San Francisco 49ers here. Let's not forget. Listen, forget about that Ram 49er game to end the season. It was meaningless, but they did play on Christmas in an important game, sort of that showdown game. The Baltimore Ravens went in there and beat the crap out of them, 33-19.
No, not really. Not really. Wait a second. First of all, let's clarify. Did they beat the crap out of them?
For the record, I will clarify, I was on the Baltimore Ravens in that game. I'll clarify that.
Okay. All right. So take it out from under your pillow, cash the ticket, but let's be realistic. Brock Purdy imploded. If you look at this, look at the stats of the game.
That's part of the game that the
Going back
quarterback
to
doesn't
sleep
implode,
country
Paul.
again. Paul and his pillows. It's just
Yeah.
unreal. It's like from like freaking Christmas. Okay.
So why?
It was 2 years ago, too. I bet on the Houston Cougars. Still brings it up.
The advanced number on the Super Bowl, by the way, the advanced number on the Super Bowl, if those two play, San Francisco is a 1.5 favorite. If those
Okay,
two
let me
play.
just say, the Niners they're overvalued by the book all the time. They are, right? You know what I mean? It's very similar. Look at it's like Washington and the Ducks. It's like, okay, they played already, and Baltimore beat them 33-19 in San Francisco. Now you're going to make them a favorite on a neutral field, but we've talked about this over the years. Like the one-arm man from the fugitive could be the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. And people say, man, Shanahan's offense, they're going to get it done. People just buy in no matter what to the San Francisco 49ers, and there's been a lot of failure. Like they haven't won, right? I mean, there's all, this guy got hurt. Well, they blew the 10-point lead in the Super Bowl. Like Shanahan blew the 28.3 lead in the Super Bowl. Like they've got to finish this off. Like, people don't call out the Niners for being chokers the same way they call the Leafs out for being chokers, Cam. They don't call out like the Bills are big chokers, but the Niners aren't. But the Niners choke all the time. You guys haven't won either. When's the last time the Niners won a Super Bowl? When Steve freaking Young was there. But they hang on to this like they win every year. So I'm going to slow down before crowding their ass, too.
All right, Steve Young.
That's right. I like your style. Yeah. Niner fan, though, I will say
Visine
this.
Vince
Brady
is like
Cannon
sharpening the knife.
is
He's
the
like,
most mellow Niner
next time you get into it with him, next time you get into it, just tell him, you guys haven't won since Steve Young was your quarterback.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I don't know what it is about their fan base. They got a lot
they
of
killed the
college
Chargers.
fans.
Touchdown, Jerry Rice.
Yeah,
Hey,
seriously, man. Stan Humphries, where are you?
That's right. 6 touchdowns. Look, I'll never forget that Super Bowl. I was at the game, and I had Al Papuno over 3.5 catches, and he got it all in the last drive.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah. 49ers fans, you are right though. I've never met a fan base like people are like talking to me, and I do in other shows. Oh, they're gonna beat Green Bay by 30, and like it's just like slow down. Like Gabe, you bring up a lot of good points. Like you've been in big games before recently, and you've fallen apart in the second half, the fourth quarter, whatever. It's like slow down, fan base. Like these guys, like nobody's anointed you the Super Bowl yet. You still have to win games. I don't care if you're better than people on paper. You have to still go. You got to execute. So we'll see.
Oh, I'm not saying they're not good. Team. Exactly. I'm not saying they're not good.
Team. Yeah, I got to play the game. Yep.
But the NFC sucks, so it's hard to tell. Like, I don't know. Like, we'll find out. Right? Like, I stand by that. You know, look at the NFC East. They got 2 teams in the playoffs. They got bounced. They lost by a combined score of 80-40. They both got smoked.
Giants will win next year. Yep. Go Giants.
I called the smoke last week. I said Dallas was a fraud. So, all right.
Yep.
Yeah. The NFC East, fraud.
All the frauds are gone now, though, for the most part.
Yeah, it's true.
You got an upstart Texans team, right? They're not frauds, but you know what I mean, young team. Great stuff, Paul. Thanks for the time.
Take care, guys. Amazing. Love you.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now, we saw a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division
I don't
favorite.
care if they win, because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Spearkits to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. Like there's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
I said earlier that Bronny James is over-under tonight. It was 5.5 points. He actually has had his highest score in first half of his career. This is his first year, obviously. He scored 9 points in the first half, so he's gone over the number easily. We're on the over 159.5 in this game. I laid got 20.5 points with Arizona. They're up by 10 right now. Early in the second half, there's 18.5 left. It's 47-37. I'm expecting Arizona to pull away and start routing them. Let's bring in the Big E, Eric Cohen, right now. A lot of stuff to unpack, Cohen. Let's start off, actually, TSN Edge. Of course, Cohen used to be with us nightly on Sirius XM Channel 98 and Hardcore Sports Radio and the Score Days. But let's start off with the big news of the day in your backyard here with Pascal Siakam getting dealt to the Pacers. Because it's funny, I don't know if you saw my tweets. Raptors Twitter are just a bunch of spoiled, like, douchey kids and stuff. They don't like anything. They rip everybody all the time. They rip Siakam all the time when he was here. And now they're upset they didn't get more for him. What do they think they were going to get? I'm amazed the Pacers gave up freaking first-round picks. They're insane to do this for Pascal Siakam. And they got Bruce Brown who they're going to trade. And they got Lewis. What's your take on the deal? What are you hearing around Raptor people?
Well, it's exactly what you just said. The guys I talked to are all upset about the fact that they only got the 3 first-round picks, believing that had they traded Siakam in the offseason or earlier this year, they could have got more. And I think it's a mentality Raptors fans have because, you know, they got jobbed, obviously, back in the day in the Vince Carter trade. They got absolutely nothing when Van Vliet left in the offseason. You know, they criticized the Anunoby trade. So basically, you're right. They're never happy. I can't remember the last time
but these people are idiots
even the Kawhi,
and don't realize.
The Kawhi Leonard trade, even the Leonard trade for DeRozan at the time.
You're right.
People are like, why are you giving up all this Kawhi for 1 year? Gabe, they're never happy with any deal.
You're right, Gabe.
So
these guys should be. We should be thanking their lucky stars. They got 3 first-rounders. You want to walk like the way Fred VanVleet did? Morency's right. Like the fact that the Pacers gave up so much, we should be thank you. Like he could have walked for nothing, and then where would we be, Cohen? That's the deal.
That's the thing. There's nothing worse than losing a guy for nothing, like you did with Chris Bosh. Another example of a guy you got nothing for. So in this case, you're right. I mean, maybe too little, too late as far as when Masai and Webster pulled the trigger, but you know what? You got your 3 first-round picks. Let's make them into something. And look what's happened with teams like Oklahoma City when they gathered all those picks and how they rebuilt so quickly. So that's what it's going to be about, drafting well and doing things the right way going forward.
Well, people need to realize, too, in the modern NBA, general managers aren't stupid, and people weren't offering that much for Van Fleet. You could argue whether they want to trade him, and what happened was they wanted to try one last run, and we've all been guilty of it. I've been guilty of it as a Raptor fan, overestimating the team, right? And I think Masai just believed in him so much, and maybe we can make noise, we're going to run, and this and that all the time. But they weren't getting offered that much. And it was the same thing with Siakam right now. The Pacers were hell-bent on getting him because they kind of know we don't get free agents. So if we already get him here, we'll pay him what he wants, and we won't have to worry about bidding against the Hawks, the Sacramento Kings, the Warriors. Because we all know the Sacramento Kings, Atlanta Hawks, and Golden State Warriors all wanted Siakam. And they all said the same thing. You know he's a free agent at the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
So imagine, Cam, the Pacers were kind of crazy. The only reason the Pacers did this, they got to put it this way, guys. Imagine if Siakam doesn't re-sign with the Pacers.
Yes,
you just gave up how much they wanted him for a rental that's not a superstar.
Yes,
he's a star player, but he's not a superstar.
And Siakam's been saying that he's not going to re-sign anywhere right now. So it very well could happen that they gave up. It happens in the NHL all the time where you give up so much at a trade deadline, you acquire a free agent, then that guy leaves, and basically you give up the farm for a guy you got 3 months for. So it's definitely a possibility with Indiana.
Or they end up having to trade him.
Right? Yeah.
Like in a sign and trade. Where he just says, listen, I'm signing with the Golden State Warriors, so if you want to figure something out with him or not, I'm going to do it. I get the feeling he's going to go to the highest bidder, right? He's already won a championship. He's made good money, though, Siakam. That's the thing. Siakam, I believe, off the top of my head, he's making $45 million this year.
Yeah.
So he's making real money, and he wants more money. He's due to make more money. It's part of the system. It's the way that it works. So not only you're going to have to pay this guy $55-60 million a year. It's going to be a lot of money for a dude that scores 22 points a night, right? You got to be careful where you allocate these big funds, which you guys know as Leaf fans, which I am not, but just for the record, they are, which now with the Nylander deal, Cohen, you're really locked in. You know what I mean? You got Nylander, you got Marner, you got Matthews, and there's no room for anybody else ever now. You've set yourself up. You're like the Phoenix Suns of the NHL.
It's an interesting situation because you give Nylander, the 8 years, the $11 million, and within a week, Sheldon Keefe is ripping him in a post-game press conference after the Colorado game, singling him out. Nylander said, "I want to be here, I want to play here," and here's the head coach, ripping into him, saying he didn't have one good shift. There has to be some method to the madness. Maybe Keefe didn't like how things went. I don't know what's going on, but things have been, you lose 4 in a row, 3 in a row in regulation, and you have a lead in all 4 of those games, and you blow multiple goal leads in 3 of those games. It's a really, really bad time right now in Leafland. Hopefully they can get out of this because the schedule doesn't get any easier with the Flames on Thursday, the Canucks on Saturday, Seattle on Sunday, 3 games in 4 nights. They've been playing, 3 games in 4 nights over the last 2 weeks, playing a California trip last week. So this team's in a lot of trouble right now.
Morency's right, though. Who cares now, Cohen? We'll worry about what happens in the playoffs. I'll give it all away. You can lose whatever. Just get in there and don't screw up. And also, I think it's very important to see if these guys lose when Wall comes back. If they still blow leads with the kid in net, you're throwing Jones out there, you're putting other guys in there. They basically said, "Kid, this is you're our guy." So they can't afford anybody else, as Gabe said. Merzlikins, we could have maybe got him. He's over $5 million, so it's Wall. Yep. That's the way it's got to be, right, guys? So they got to figure this out. If they lose with him, then we got a real problem.
Yeah,
that is a tough slate that they have coming up here.
Injury for him,
big time.
The fact that they've had, he's been out for a while, and there's no real timetable for him coming back anytime soon. So you certainly hope Samsonov's found his game. He had a decent start against Detroit, but they can't keep putting Martin Jones out there too at his age. So they got to figure this out.
The Leafs are minus 130 road favorites against the Flames tomorrow night. Of course, they play against the Vancouver Canucks, as Cohen mentioned, on Saturday. It's 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock local time, so it's earlier for Vancouver. It's a hot ticket, actually. Man, like I saw just because someone's trying to do this doesn't mean they're going to get it. But you like this one, Cam. Someone's trying to get $13,000 for a ticket for the
for a regular season Leafs Canucks game. What's this guy doing? Like, come on, dude, get a grip.
Should I lower the price?
Sorry, man.
Yeah, no, like I don't know. Like, this guy must owe the mob a lot of he must owe like an Asian crime syndicate a lot of money.
What do
he's like,
I get
need
for
a miracle,
$13,000?
please. Like someone buy this ticket for $13,000.
What is this? Private booth? All you can drink and eat? No, like a seat? Like what's this guy? What are you giving me? Come on.
It's funny because I see $800. Tickets generally, that's what they're going for. They're going for like $1,000, like the bottom tier ones, the sort of the lower row, the lower bowl is like $1,000. It's like $300 to get in a building, but then there's one dude. It's like $13,000. It's like, dude, there ain't no like even the luxury suite ain't worth $13K tonight. It's a regular season NHL game. It ain't not the Super Bowl. But that's another story.
Guess he gets to sleep over at Trevor Linden's house after the game. Yeah, they are. They're going to beat Calgary. I say that every night. I was live against the Oilers.
Oh, we got Cohen's NFL bets on the other side.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run, run, run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
Right now, he's a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division
I
favorite.
don't care if they win because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
I really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. Like there's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
I think the biggest unfortunate thing about Siakam getting dealt is people in Toronto, I see this on Twitter, people in Toronto were really enjoying the Siakam swirl cam from McDonald's. It's like a McFlurry type of Siakam. It was made with red Smarties and a hot fudge swirl.
Yep, right up your alley, Morency, for sugar lovers, right in your wheelhouse. Just made that commercial, too, right before he got dealt. But as we were talking off air, the Raptors in Toronto, they seem to have a history of players making commercials, then getting dealt.
The whole city in general. I mean, like Alec Manoah's like out of Blue Jays, like everything. And yet every time you watch one of their games, he's in every Mary Brown's commercial, peanut butter and jam commercial. He's all over the commercials.
He might not be on the
he's
team.
Just nowhere near the team for 4 months.
Yeah. It's a kiss of death. As soon as you become, you get commercials and stuff like that. It's the kiss of death. So, speaking of the Blue Jays, actually, man, what a disappointing offseason. Like they never respond. Like, fine, you didn't get Ohtani. The Dodgers were going to get Ohtani the whole time, but they never really, you know what I mean? They never stepped up. It is what it is. I don't think the sky is falling. There's a lot of negativity about it. I don't think the sky is fully falling on them. They're still a good team, but disappointed they didn't spend any of the money. If you're willing to spend $700 million, then how come, just go out and sign Cody freaking Bellinger then, right? Just get the deal done. There's deals to be made, right? Then it gets down to J.D. Martinez and stuff like this. But nevertheless, let's get to the football. Cohen's a Bills fan, but we'll get to the Bills in a minute. Cohen, I was saying earlier, San Francisco are like this bully or something. Like, it's like, oh, man, yeah, and down the block, at the end of the block, there's that San Francisco dude, and he beats everybody up and stuff. But if you actually analyze it, he gets beat up a lot himself. Like, when, you know what I mean? Like, am I wrong? When's the last time the Niners won a Super Bowl, Cohen? When Steve Young beat the Chargers.
1994. What's funny is that Dallas gets ridiculed all the time. They haven't won since '95. San Fran won it the year before that and haven't won it since, right? So,
but you never hear. I said the same thing a couple of minutes ago. You guys are Leaf fans. I said, you hear the Leafs are chokers, the Bills are big chokers, the Cowboys are chokers. You guys suck. You lose. Oh, but the Niners. You just said it. 94. That's when the Canadians won the Stanley Cup.
You're right, Morency. They have those memes with Spider-Man. One a Leaf and one a Cowboy. You never see the Niner. You're so right. No. Like I've never seen one.
Like they choke all the time. Like, so why is this? Oh, Green Bay can't beat them. Yeah, they
I don't
can.
know.
Everyone makes excuses for the Niners. Obviously last year NFC Championship game, they're down to their fourth straight quarterback, and Christian McCaffrey's under center because they've lost Purdy and they've lost Garoppolo, they've lost Johnson. They did lose other quarterbacks. They made a lot of excuses, whatever. But I mean, they had a 10-point lead against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They gave up 21 unanswered years ago. Their offensive coordinator in Atlanta blew a 28-3 lead, before taking this job. So, there's been a lot of issues with this Niners team. A lot of people are just willing to crown them Super Bowl champions right now without them beating anybody. I don't know about that. I mean, listen, they should beat Green Bay. Listen, a lot of times in the divisional round, the team that looks really good in the wild card round doesn't replicate that the week after. And certainly San Francisco was expected to win that game. I would love to see the Lions go in there the following week. Again, San Fran's more talented. They're more complete. But the fact that on the look-ahead line, they're favored to beat Baltimore, a team that walked into San Francisco on Christmas Day and walloped them, it's a little bit absurd that everybody's just so high on the Niners and just willing to crown them before they've done anything in this playoff.
Well, that's exactly what we were saying. It reminds me, Cam, it's the same thing. It's like Washington and Oregon. It's like, yeah, okay, make them 9.5-point favorites, even though we just saw them lose to this team. And now you're on a neutral field. As I say, Baltimore went in there, beat them by 14 points, and now in a neutral field, because San Francisco. I've been guilty of it myself. I've been guilty of it, where I drink the Niner Kool-Aid, and oh my God, they're invincible, and they're unbelievable, and this and that, and you can't beat them, be careful of them, and all this. But they're not. Like, they're not invincible. They're a damn good football team. I'm not saying they're not, but they're not invincible. So what are your best bets this weekend, Cole? What are you doing with the NFL games?
I do like the Lions. I think as long as it's under a touchdown, I think the Lions do take Tampa Bay out to the woodshed. Tampa Bay just beat up on a Philly team that completely mailed it in. The Lions are very motivated. I think that, they were a little bit fortunate to beat the Rams on a couple of iffy calls at the end of that game. But, man, you saw that team, their first couple series, they moved the ball at will. They beat Tampa handily in Tampa already this season. So I think as long as that number stays under 7, I think Detroit does win that game by a touchdown. Call it a homer play, but I am on the Bills under a field goal. Obviously, I'm worried about the defense, losing 3 more starters last week. You hope that Rasul Douglas is back this week, and a couple of those guys are out there. But I think Buffalo's a far better offensive team. And I'm not just talking about Mahomes and Allen. I'm saying, you look at the weapons that Josh Allen has, it's not even comparable. Mahomes has one receiver. Rashee Rice is a great receiver. Obviously, Mr. Pfizer, he's been an up and down year for him. But, all the other receivers there, they can't catch the ball. I think Buffalo has the advantage there. And they're at home. They've been waiting for years to get this team at home. So I do like the Bills to beat the Chiefs. And, again, I don't think I'm just wearing my Bills goggles. I do believe they get it done.
Just for the record, Gabriel Davis did not practice today again. I don't think he's going to play.
That's tough.
I'd rather guys on defense back, but still, I'd rather have Davis in the lineup as well. But, the Bills are big.
A couple of other guys have stepped up, though. Hardy had the kick return touchdown. Shakir stepped up with that dancing touchdown. A couple other guys, Gabe. So Gabe Davis is a nice deep threat, but those other guys are good. Yeah, it's a team effort. Next man up.
Yeah, no, it's a team effort. So as far as Taylor Swift is concerned, I said this after the game on Twitter after the game last week. If I'm the Bills, I tell her there's no suites available for you.
Yeah.
They're sold out. Just point blank. I'll say, listen, we don't have a suite. If you want to buy a ticket, we'll put security around it. You know what I mean? People won't throw snowballs at you, but we can't promise you that. Right? Type of deal. But just sort of mess with her a little bit. Just say, no, there's no suites here. If you want to buy a ticket, go sit in the damn stand. You're not taking our stadium over here.
Even though she can afford it, I want to see her get gouged on Ticketmaster the way that all of her fans get gouged when her.
Well, that's the thing. She can find out what it's like. Yeah. She can afford, whatever, Taylor. You can afford the $1,200.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it is a big deal. They should go all out, though. In Buffalo, of course, they've boycotted Bon Jovi because Bon Jovi wants to buy the team and move them. So they boycotted Bon Jovi. They should get a Taylor Swift boycott going, all out war. I don't know who Taylor Swift's rival is and stuff, but we should play her on the screen. Find out who Taylor hates the most, Cam. Oh, you don't like Miley Cyrus, huh? Just play Miley Cyrus videos all day.
Christina Aguilera?
Yeah,
how old we are. We don't even know who
who stole one of her boyfriends before or something.
Exactly. Yes.
You just look it up and go, really? She hates Christina Aguilera in real life? Good.
Yeah.
We're going to play Christine. We'll invite Christina Aguilera to the game.
Yeah. And we're in Bill stuff.
Yeah. Pass before the game.
She's got a lot of ex-boyfriends, actually, Taylor Swift. We should just be real jerks and invite one of the boyfriends, Cam.
That's true. Anything it takes, Morency. Anything it takes.
Yes. No, you know what? All kidding aside, I don't have any problem with her. And I don't have a problem with Kelsey either. I think Kelsey's all right. He could be a bigger jerk or douche for a big celebrity type. You see him on his podcast. He's a funny guy. You know what I mean? He's a celebrity wannabe, and he became one. I read a story about him, about how they had a vision with this, right? It's all sort of been calculated, and his agents and the people around him and stuff told him this, and, you could be in movies and stuff. And he was like, you're crazy. And here he is. He just hosted Saturday Night Live. I'm telling you what, guys, if the Chiefs, I don't think he retires, but it wouldn't fully shock me if he did.
If they follow in his brother's footsteps?
Both brothers?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Travis ain't getting any younger, and there's talk about him and Taylor Swift getting married and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah,
he's going to move on. He's going to move on to the entertainment business and stuff, Cam.
Maybe I don't know, Taylor Swift, you know her relationships. They go good for a while, then they turn sour. We'll see. If the Bills win, things could change. That's not a lock. That is not a lock.
My prediction was that he would be like, man, she called my bluff because he just sort of flirted with her like in public, and he ended up getting a date with her, and now they're together. I sort of thought he's going to realize this. I didn't really want this, right? But I think he's pretty happy. Plus, I don't want to be evil and stuff, but like his career has really taken off since he's been with her.
It really
like
has.
anyone's a moron that thinks the NFL's using her. It's like, dude, like, I know he's the one that picked up 6 million Instagram followers, not the NFL.
Jason Kelsey loses a Super Bowl on a bad call. He does Pinty's chicken wings, probably going to lose that deal, and now he goes out to Tampa Bay.
And he's lucky he has that Pinty's deal. I was thinking about that. I'm like, why is this guy have a Pinty's deal? Because he's a Kelsey.
I love Pinty's wings.
The fact that Taylor's able to cope with Brittany Mahomes and the brother and the mother and deal with all that in the suite every week. I mean,
she's more annoying than Taylor Swift is.
That's what I mean.
How about Stafford's wife? You see that? Cohen's a closet Lion fan. He's a Bills fan. But you see, Stafford's wife's like, Lions fans were yelling and booing our kids. Like, everyone's like, no, they weren't. Not one person said anything to your kid.
Did you see the commercial for her and Stafford doing wills? The home legal will kit with Stafford and wife. I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
Well, Lions fans weren't very happy that she was happy for the players in Detroit, but not for the fans. I mean, Stafford left some people pretty pissed off after that game.
She sold her tickets to the fans when she was there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cohen.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run, run, run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
Right now, he's a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division
I
favorite.
don't care if they win because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
I really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Spearkits to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. Like there's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
SportsRage Late Night. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Morency, 64-48 right now. Always good catching up with our boy, Eric Cohen. Good stuff catching up with the Big E. Like we said, not to be a homer, but I like the Bills this week.
Yeah. Super Bowl, Lions, Bills, that's Cohen's dream Super Bowl. It'd be amazing.
Oh, man.
That'd be great. Kind of want, that's what I want to happen, too.
A Lions-Bills Super Bowl would be the end of the world as we know it. You would never have, like, such a... what's the word I'm looking for? Passionate fan bases. So passionate's one word, but I guess the word I'm looking for, it'll be like the trashiest Super Bowl ever.
I like it.
Like Lion fan, and you know what it'd be like? It'd be like WrestleMania.
Good call.
Like Bills fans are going to be like slamming each other into the Bellagio pond on the Vegas Strip and stuff like that. There's going to be literally like thousands of arrests every night. Bills fan, like the Vegas News. Bills Mafia were celebrating on the Strip last night when they took over the Harmon Boulevard and caused a right. And like, it's just going to be one like Bills fan fell off a scaffold outside the Wynn last night because he climbed up. Like it'll just be stupidity of chaos. Tommy, our boy Tommy. And Tommy doesn't, you guys can't hear him in our headset, but Tommy, you've seen it. Tommy's in the area. You see the new thing, Tommy, and everyone, Bills fans, they think it's good luck, Tommy. They're jumping into the pit of the new stadium now. This is their new thing. Forget about like tables. Remember, Cam, I told you about the guy that jumped into the hole of the new stadium and he was on LSD and he was covered in feces?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. It's become a thing. It's become a thing.
Wow.
People are jumping into a construction zone now, and it's like good luck. They think it's like the new table. Let's jump
falling into a hole.
They've imagine Cam graduating from like slamming yourself through a table to jumping into a construction site 40 feet deep.
I hate to say it. It's taking your life in your hands.
Well, you know what happens. You end up in the hospital, and you end up at the Orchard Park County Jail. I know.
That's right.
That's
and then Carl Miles will represent
and then you go to the
in
other
Orchard Park Court. That's right. Come on. That's my favorite. Come on. What? Come on.
That's all he said. Come on.
That's the best.
He knew the judge's first name. He goes, good to see you, Michael.
Yeah.
Come on. He said, come on.
That's so good.
I was there for I was all nervous. I was there for like 10 seconds, Cam. The judge looks at me and he goes, Mr. Morency, do you think you can refrain from relieving yourself in our county for the next 6 months? I said to him, I won't be coming back for the rest of the season, sir, so it won't be a problem.
You didn't say forever, for the rest of the season. That's the best.
I said I won't come back for the rest of the year, sir, so I can do that.
But you brought it up, and we've talked about this before. There is no Orchard Park without fines and fees of travelers who come into Orchard Park.
It keeps the city going.
That's how the city runs. Yes, that's their bills, taxes, fines.
I found out.
That's it.
Dude, they make $250,000 every home game, Cam, off of fines.
That's great.
$250K, like off the court system and the money and everything. Dude, it's like a $250,000 operation every home game.
That's amazing. What about the independent people who do the parking on their lawns? They have like 30 cars, $40 here, whatever. Like it's just wild there. It's like I love it's crazy. But you were so right a long time ago, man. That casino land, that's where the stadium should have been. Like every time I go there, I go, that's where the Bills should be playing. You said it, Niagara Falls is right there. It's like, it writes itself.
Yeah. It makes no sense where the stadium is. And another thing is, Orchard Park is already a nice community. They don't need the stadium. They're milking the stadium. They don't need it, right? That Seneca Niagara is a dump. It's an absolute hellhole. Yeah, the casino, we all know it. The Canada side looks like Disney World. The American side looks like a prison camp. It really looks like, is that one of the state prisons over there? It's like, no, that's the American side of Niagara Falls. They could have built the stadium next to the casino on the water. Put it this way, every time they show Buffalo shots at the game camp, they show Niagara Falls. Should have just put the damn stadium there. Right?
Agreed.
And
that area
and it's technically closer to Buffalo than Orchard Park is. Orchard Park's 41 miles away. Niagara is 18 miles away. It's closer to Buffalo. Like to actually downtown Buffalo. Like They were too cheap. Pagula's too cheap, Ken, to put the stadium like near the arena downtown and stuff. Oh, that land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm sure the land will break you, right, in Buffalo. So
wasn't Tommy going to go to that game in Buffalo tonight? It got postponed.
Yeah,
They're
it got
expecting
canceled.
more
Yeah,
snow.
postponed. Yeah.
Can you believe
wasn't meant
this?
to be.
I gotta be. I sold your ticket. I don't know what the heck's going on in the snow, but like I've seen snow. But Gabe, this is taking it to new levels of like. Imagine this.
Yeah.
My buddy used to plow. You're on contracts. If you're a snowplow guy in Buffalo, you'll end up
Mr.
making
Plow.
like negative money because you make your money on contracts, whatever. If it only snows 5 times during the winter, you're basically making like $150 an hour. But every time it snows and you got to go out there, you're basically losing money on your flat rate, right? How many times? You saw the snow at the stadium and they're expecting more? Like, it's just, I can't believe the amount of snow they get. We get nothing compared to them. Like 1/100th of the snow.
There's snow everywhere right now. I tweeted a picture. There's snow where I am, and it never snows here. And it's really aggravating me because my new guitar was supposed to show up today, and it freaking didn't due to the snow. I don't really understand how a courier company, like, you're a courier company. It's like that, like, oh, it snowed. I remember once I called, I ordered a pizza from Domino's like 2 years ago here, and it was taking forever. And I called. I said, listen, it's been like 55 minutes or something. Like, your Domino's supposed to be like 30 minutes or 40, whatever. And she goes, well, the Canucks are playing, sir. And I'm like, yeah, and? Like, yeah,
more drivers.
I'm like,
please.
you're a pizza place. Like, and then the best, she goes, the Canucks are playing and it's raining, sir. And I said, it's raining. I said, it rains every day. I said, if you're going to take a long time because it's raining, then I was like, I got into a big thing. Like, it's raining. It's always raining. Like, when is it not raining? It's always raining. I know it's raining. I was aware it's raining when I called. Yeah, the Canucks were playing. That was a good one. 66-52 with 7 minutes remaining.
Are you
The
on Nevada
legal will
or San Diego State? What are you? Do you bet that
I didn't
game?
get in on it. No,
I took Nevada. I got 7 with Nevada. 6.5. I took the 7. It was 6.5, and I got a half point, but they're down 6.
I lean SDSU. I was going to put SDSU in a money line parlay. Maybe we'll get a head start on the Bills game now. Put SDSU with the Bills. So you can't mention. So yeah, Matthew Stafford. So yeah, his wife. Listen, I don't like talking about players' wives. It's uncomfortable. I don't bring up their personal lives. But and there's always a but. But she has a podcast and stuff. So she talks. Like she's in the media. She talks. She has her own show. So she's always talking. And so, but going back when she was on when Matt Stafford was the quarterback of the Detroit Lions, she got caught. And she didn't deny it after she got into a fight with people. She called everyone out after. She was basically selling tickets. She went online and said, who wants to buy 4 tickets to the Lions game this week?
Yeah.
And people were like, your husband makes $35 million a year and is the quarterback of the Detroit Lions. Shouldn't you just give these tickets away to charity? Or like, can't you, do you need to try to get $250 a ticket? And she squawked back and said they're her tickets and she can do whatever the F she wants with them. All right, fine. Didn't go over well in Detroit. Let's not forget about the time that she threw a large-sized pretzel can and hit a 49er fan in the face with a pretzel year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
She was complaining about unruly fans, and she hit someone with a pretzel. She would have flipped if someone would have hit her a pretzel. She's talking earlier this year about Stafford doesn't get along with anyone on the team because they don't even know who he is. They don't talk to him. It's like he didn't tell you this so you could say this on your podcast. So like now everyone in the Rams room knows that he tells you everything that happens in the damn room, right? Anyways. So now they brought the 4 kids to Detroit. They were all born in Detroit at the game. Fine. She said that it was repulsive that people were abusing her kids verbally and yelling at her kids all game. And verbally abusing her when there was not one video account. In fact, people said people were nice to her. They cheered Stafford and whatever. They booed him once the game starts, but no one was like attacking Stafford's kids, bro. All right. Not one person saw it. Yep. Like everyone was like, she's backing off of it a bit. So it never ends with her. She's just annoying. People call out everybody else. Forget Taylor Swift, man. Like she's the annoying one. Kelly Stafford. But then, as Cav stated, anyone who watches these TV networks, especially in the late night hours with the legal will kits and stuff. There's Matthew Stafford sitting on the couch with his wife saying that, in case anything happens, I know it's all good because I went to will.com or whatever. And I'm thinking, really, what? You've got like a $500 million estate and you just fill this out online in 10 minutes?
Yeah, that's the best. It's like those will kits are for people who are
I'm
basically.
sure you did this, right? Yeah, you don't have like a better like lock-in stuff here,
Those
huh?
people are for those will kits for people living in gutters and stuff. You hire a lawyer
people
if
like
you're
me.
Matt Stafford. Yes,
Are you
people
over
like me
50 and I don't
radio
want any
show
medical
hosts. It's
questions?
It's like, oh, Gabe, but I had a stroke and we've been doing radio. I should really start thinking about my future when I'm going to kick the bucket. Like
he's got the legal at will.com at $9.99. Yeah, legal will kit.
I couldn't believe it. First time I saw it, I go, I did a triple take. I'm like, this is the funniest thing ever.
Does he have enough money too that, like, number one, it's kind of creepy. To me, I'm like, I'm not doing legal will. Like, I'm not, I don't want to do this from Red. Like,
weird.
The other thing is, I'm super rich. He's making like $68 million a year with the Rams. Like, do you really need to do this commercial? I bet you it's his wife's idea. I bet you it wasn't his idea.
Well, it's like some people just get a lot of work and they just, I see like Kid Rock, he shows up to the opening of an envelope. Like, look at Ice-T. He's doing Car Shield with Vivica Fox and stuff. It's like, hey man, that transmission's $5,000.
That commercial's the best.
I know. It goes.
I like when he goes, you should have called before the car. And she's like, it's like, she's like, oh, could have been different. Like someone died. She's like, could have been different.
He goes, we can't save them all. That was their line. We can't save them all. The transmission's under it's like a dead person game, but it's a transmission under a blanket. It's like, I love it.
And it's the same thing too. I don't want to call out because I'm a big fan of Ice-T.
Me too.
It's like, dude, do you really have Car Shield Ice-T?
Yeah, I know. Exactly. He does a lot of stuff, man. He's still on Law and Order. He's Finn on Law and Order. Like, that guy has a lot of gigs, man. Like, he works it hard. He hustles.
Oh, not to mention he's got a great metal band, Body Count.
Yeah, he's got it all. He's doing. Could have seen.
They've been around a while, Body Count. They've been good.
Yes, they have.
No, her acting is terrible in that commercial. Like, she's like,
I love it.
Like,
I know, it's the best.
It's like they did like this sort of like mini movie. It's like they're watching, like they see this like scrap car, and Ice-T is like, could have been different if you would have called Car Shield. She's like, I just another one lost.
We're watching the same channels because we're seeing with legal will kits, Car Shield, with the commercial. What's the most annoying commercial on TV? J.G. Wentworth, yeah, and the guy at the bar is all like drunk. That guy's wicked.
Now the most annoying, there's a few annoying ones. All the Ozempic commercials are annoying.
Oh. I'll rank diabetes.
There's another one
commercials.
too. The one. I have diabetes, but I manage it well. It's like it's
Jardiance. That's what I'm on.
Up, all right?
I know. I'm on Jardiance. Biggest loser pill going.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now, we saw a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division favorite.
I don't care if they win because all we care about is the money, baby. The money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
I really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They like stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. Like there's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. 74-59 right now for Arizona over the USC Trojans. 4:06 left in this basketball game. They were laying 20.5 at close. Man, it's a lot of points, right? So it's one of those deals, too. Like, what does Arizona care if they win by 16 or 21? They don't. And right now they're winning by 15 with 4 minutes left. I don't think they're going to cover. It's funny because when I woke up this morning and I knew they were playing, I saw this last night, and I was like, everyone's going to think that Arizona's going to kill them. But, man, 19.5 is a lot. And it went up to 20.5. But then, I got to be honest, the thing is, USC aren't very good, right? They're 8-9 on the season. They're 2-4 in conference play. Arizona, when they win generally at home, they just drill teams. Historically, if you look, they've absolutely murdered USC over the years. So, I don't know. Maybe they could backdoor this right now. Like I said, they're up by 15. They got to outscore them by 6 points in the next 340. And I took an in-game over, 159.5. It's not going to happen because USC suck and they stop scoring. They're stuck at 59 points right now.
You know what, Gabe? Arizona's a wicked team, but I got to tell you something. Remember Saturday night, too, and we talked about that game on the Friday show, and Wazoo was getting 9.5. They won outright in that game on Saturday night. Remember, there's a lot of things going on with the football, but they won by 3. And then Arizona, like they're a wicked team, but their numbers are so big. Like, you know what I mean? Asking them to win by 10 on the road or beating another team by 50. The problem is, if you talk about it, inflated lines. They're a wicked basketball team, but covering's another story. Winning's one thing, covering's another.
It is. And, like, here's a classic example of it because you can't criticize them. They're winning by 15 points a game, but
exactly
20.5 was a lot.
A lot.
Right? It just was. But like we said, I relied on history. I got a little bit too cute. And I thought it could get there, too. Where are we at? We're at 134 points. There's no way in hell the over's going to hit. And USC just hit a basket, so they're not going to cover. USC's going to cover. They're down by 13 right now with 3 minutes remaining in this game. We'll get you caught up to date with everything else and more on the other side.